Hi, Lou.
Hi, Gina.
How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome. Let's get more people up and going in here as soon as I can figure out how in the heck to do this. All right. Hi, Michael. Hi, Rob. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Tom. There we go. Oh, there's Kathy. Oh, there's Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Shirley.
Gina, got a question for you.
What you got?
You ever use that bike behind you?
Yes, not
Okay,
often enough.
just curious.
And I use it for more than hanging my coat on too. So, hey.
I got one of those speed bikes here that's hers that she didn't use, but I dry my blankets on it.
Hold on.
Yep. My other bike is one out in the garage and it was given to me. It's brand new too. I got to find a bike place that will buy it so I can get another bike because it's too tall for me. I have short legs. I can't ride this thing. If I do, I'm going to hurt myself if I have to stop. So, all right. So I think I have everybody on so far. Welcome to this, by the way. All right. So Gary asked me if I would lead this, and today we're going to talk about scripts, and we're going to give people a couple more minutes for real estate time to actually start. So let me see. A couple of things though, as we're going through, I need somebody who will be volunteer to be my person to say, hey, Gina, check the chat box because I have ADD and I am not so good at multitasking. So if someone could be if all y'all actually could just yell at me every so often of, hey, Gina, check check the chat box, I'd appreciate it. And Tom Z, I can promote you, Tom, if I can find you. Where are you? Right there. Promote. Oh, I need to promote all y'all to panelists, don't I? Let's get you promoted. All right. Thank you, Tom, for that heads up. Okay, you, I can't. Promote to panelist.
So, Gina, if you just hover over me and make me a co-host, I can go into the attendees and promote them all so you can focus on your stuff.
Tom, I will hover over you all day long. There you go.
There you go. All right.
Thank you.
I will promote people.
Awesome sauce. All right, we're closing that puppy out. Will you take care of telling me if there's chat stuff in there?
Yes.
Thank you. You're twice my hero. All right, all y'all, how y'all doing? Fabulous.
Doing okay.
Thank you. All right. So today, let me see. It's 3 minutes after. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to talk about scripts and lead generation. I'm going to go through some chips and tools and everything that I use. And we're going to talk about the 10 steps to lead generation, or 10 facts about lead generation that nobody ever tells you about. Okay. Nod yes, hands or something. Thank you. I'll take that. Thanks so much, Lou. All right. So I'm going to dig straight into this. So the 10 things about lead generation that nobody ever tells you about. The first one is this. You need to start with your big why. So if you haven't done your coaching in with Gary to start with your big why, then that's the first step that I would start with. Because without having your big why, there's not really ever a reason to go picking up this beast and making crazy phone calls to people. So I would dig in and I would start with my big why first. I'm not going to pick up the phone. I'm not going to talk to a stranger. I'm not going to do anything unless I have some reason bigger than myself in order to do that thing. So out of the 10 steps to lead generation that nobody ever talks about, the very first thing is starting with your big why. So if you're using this as an excuse to not lead generate, keep on using it as an excuse to not lead generate, because if you do that, you're going to end up back with a JOB. So I just want to be really blunt about the 10 things on lead generation that nobody else talks about. So the first one, start with a big Y. Okay. Second step to lead generation that nobody ever talks about, being humble. So would you all agree? I want to talk about hating lead generation and everything else, but would you all agree that somebody somewhere has succeeded with scripts and lead generation before? So raise a hand if you all agree that somebody succeeded somewhere with that.
Yes, at some point in time, for sure.
Somebody somewhere has succeeded. Okay. Would you agree? I saw another hand up there. Would you all agree that there's something that we could learn from that person who succeeded before in real estate using scripts? Yep. Got another hand up in there. Okay. Your way, if it doesn't involve learning from someone that's mastered it before, is not going to work for you. Okay, it might, but it'll be like a 5-wheeled cart. It'll be wonky as heck. You'll get there eventually, but it will be wonky all the way. So from scripts, go to the masters. There's a reason why they're written the way they're written. And I know they're uncomfortable and I know that nobody likes them, but you make them yours once you know what it is that they're asking, and once you know what those points are, and once you know what the goal of it is and why they're saying what they say. So I take scripts all the time now at this stage in my real estate career, and I rewrite them and I remove things like, I just ran across one where the guy was saying, how does that sound to you? How does that sound to you? And I know what the point is. The point is he's doing a tie down to get you to agree and say yes. But how's that sound for you? It's not anything I would ever say. It's just not. So since I know it's a tie down and I know what he's going after, I immediately flip that to, there's like 5 of them in this script. And I rotated through a bunch of different ones, like, cool, huh? You know, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm agreeing, I'm getting you to do a tie down with me where you're agreeing with me, but I'm not saying, how's that sound for you? Because I'm never going to say that. So you can tweak things and make them your own, but in the beginning, don't tweak stuff on scripts. Make scripts, follow them the way that they are, and eventually you can tweak it once you understand. And also eventually those scripts will actually start to become you, and it'll start to be this weird thing that actually just is something that you say. So learn it first and then break the rules once you know what the rules are. Picasso said this, he said, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. So that's how I want you to think about scripts. I want you to learn the rules like a pro and then break them like an artist. So any questions on learning them and just doing them the way that they're written out there? Oh, this is going to be easy and quick. Okay. So the third one, learn your scripts, learn how to say them and what to say. So I broke that one. Your second one is be humble. Your third one is learning scripts and learning what they are and learning how to say them the right way. Is there anybody out here that absolutely hates scripts and doesn't want to learn them or doesn't want anything to do with them?
Don't we all feel that way once in a while?
I do. Absolutely. Oh, PF too. Yep. All right. So do you guys realize that you use scripts all day long, constantly? So can anyone think of some scripts that you use on a regular basis all day long?
I didn't do it, dear.
Say what?
I didn't do it, dear.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, that is a good one. How about this for us women when we're out shopping for clothes? What do we say when the salesperson asks us if we need help?
I'm just looking.
Just looking. We say it all the time. What's that designed to do?
Cut it.
Deter the retail person out of your face.
Exactly. It's the same script and the same effect as when you're doing an open house and you say, by the way, do you have an agent? And they say, yes, I already have an agent.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys heard that? Yeah, I already have an agent. Out of curiosity, when you guys hear that, what's your response back?
Oh, really? Who is that?
That's one. Does anyone have another one?
Okay.
PF, what you got? Thanks, Tom.
Fantastic. Can I have their contact so I can
thank them later for sending you.
Good. That's good too. So here's one that you guys want to hear what I always used to say? My brokers hated this, but I did it anyway. My broker hated it when it happened to him. I would say this, I would say, awesome. Out of curiosity, have you signed anything? And then and if they even pause, I know the answer is no, right? And I know it is. And if you're in a state that has broker agency agreements, and if you're in a state that has those and has that kind of concept set up, California, Washington, Virginia, a bunch of them have that. So I would say, awesome, out of curiosity, have you signed anything yet? And when they paused, I would say, I don't know if you know this or not, but in the state of insert state, I don't know if you know this or not, but in the state of Washington, technically, you don't have an agent. I'd love to sit down with you so I could show you what I could do to get buyers offers accepted on the first go around or whatever it is and get top dollar for your house. I don't care what it is, whatever it is that it fits it. But that's a great script back. Awesome. Out of curiosity, have you signed anything? So it's not, and in the beginning, it sounded kind of weird, but I picked up a ton of buyers with it, a ton of buyers. And my broker, one of my brokers in California was like, I hate it when people do that to me. And I'm like, is it illegal? He's like, no. And I'm like, all right, because I won't cross over the line, but I will push up against it, So a script, knowing something like that will get you those buyers and get you those leads that otherwise are just walking out the door. Okay, so learn what to say, learn how to say it. All right. Number 4, do the work. Don't wait. Don't prepare to prepare. Just pick it up and do the work. So if you're in real estate and it is your second day in real estate, that's when number 4 step starts. It starts then. Don't overthink it. Don't prepare. Your goal is just to talk to people. And it doesn't have to be weird, and it doesn't have to be a cold call, and it doesn't have to be over a phone. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff, but you gotta talk to people. Okay, so that's step 4 with real estate. You flat out got to talk to people. So just do the work and don't prepare to prepare. Okay, so number 1, start with your big why. Number 2, be humble. Number 3, learn what to say and how to say it. Number 4, just do the work. You got to just pick up and you got to just do the work. Okay, and by the way, you have to talk to enough people to hit your goals. So if an agent would come to my office and they're like, I want to sell, name a number, 24, 48, 36, 72, doesn't matter, houses this year. And okay, so what's your lead generation going to look like? I've decided that I'm going to talk to 2 people a day. Well, it's not going to work. It just isn't. So does anyone know how many people, if you want your business to be growing consistently, how many people you should be talking to in a day or in a week? Anyone throw some numbers at me?
10 a day.
How much was that? Sorry.
10 a day.
10 a day. What else you got? Throw some other numbers out there.
The number
I
specifically,
average
but
of 30 talks a week to pick up 3 appointments.
That's what your numbers are to close that or to get those 3 appointments?
Yep.
Awesome sauce. I love a guy who knows his numbers. Who else knows their numbers?
But that's probably about $2,000.
To get your 3 answers, or to get your 30?
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. So my personal numbers were, it took me 100 dials. This was back when people answered phones. And I haven't looked at my text rates. I need to look at my text rates, but it was 100 dials to get 20 contacts to get an appointment set. So that's just what it looked like to get an appointment set for me. So Michael has more dials, but he's better at getting his appointment set. So 30 for 3 is much better than my 20 for 1.
When I say dials, that's bad numbers and everything.
Yeah, I count every dial. A dial is a dial is a dial is a dial. A contact is a 2-way conversation.
Yep.
Even if it's, I hate your guts, leave me alone.
No, I don't count those.
Oh, you don't count those?
No.
Oh, I counted those.
If we have a nice conversation, you say I'm not interested, that's a contact. But if you SOB me, I don't count you, I delete you.
Ah, okay. All right. So I count them. I'm counting my dang, even if they hate my guess, I'm still like, got 1 down, man. I'm counting that puppy. So number 4, do the work. Do you know your numbers? Go after it. A good rule of thumb, if you don't know, if you're newer to real estate, is take the number of closings that you want. This is a very broad generality. Take the number of closings you want in your first year. So let's say it's 12 for easy math, it's one a month. Double that for the number of appointments you'll need, assuming that you'll lose half your appointments because you're new and you just new, you don't have it down yet. So that's 24 appointments. And then assume that it's going to take you 20 phone calls to get one appointment set, and then do your math back from there. And it might take you 50, it might take you 100, but learn your numbers, because once you know your numbers, it's just math if you want to increase your business. So Michael, 30 conversations get you 3 appointments. So if you want to grow your business by 50%, what would you do?
Get on the phone a couple more days.
Yeah, it's just simple math. Exactly. That's all it is. It's just simple math. Okay. Next rule for lead generation that nobody talks about, the rule of 3. So this is actually number 5. And if I could have put it as number 3, I would have, but put these in order of how they're actually going to happen when you're doing it. So the rule of 3 is this. If you guys are lead generating, or actually anything in life this works for, and you run across the same objection 3 times. So they don't want to price their house correctly. They don't want to pay your commission. They don't want to, you name it, whatever it is. If it happens 3 times in fairly quick succession, it's not them, it's you. Okay. And what I mean by that is there's something that you are doing or not doing or saying or not saying that's allowing that objection to pop up. So when I was first doing real estate, it was short sale land and train wreck housing market, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and prices falling like crazy. And I could not, let me see, which one do I want to use? Let's do price objections first. I couldn't get them to price the house. I couldn't get them to reduce the price of their property. They'd list it and then the market would fall and I couldn't get them to come back down again. And I got tired of dealing with it and having the same stupid conversation. And plus, I'm a strong believer that the harder the conversation is, the closer I should be to that human being. So if it's a really difficult conversation, I'm going to try and get belly to belly. If I can't do that, I'm going to do the phone and I'm going to be moving it away if I have to. But if it's a hard conversation, I'm going to try and get in front of you as much as I possibly can. Now I would get in front of you. I would maybe Zoom and then maybe phone call. So I couldn't get my price reductions, my price adjustments. So I got tired of it. We're doing short sales. It doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't really matter what the house sells for. It's a short sale. It's short for a reason. So I started going on listing appointments, bringing 15 post-dated price adjustments with me. And they would sign them. They were post-dated and they were done. I had 15 weeks because we reduced the house every week until we got our offer in. And that took care of that. And when the objection came up of what the hey, 15, I was like, yep. And if it doesn't sell in 15 weeks, I'll be back here with another 10 more. And it just stopped it. I never had a problem again getting them. If I was going to be taking an overpriced listing today, which I've talked with a few people about taking when, I'm a firm believer in not ever taking an overpriced listing. I took one and I took it because it was on a really good intersection of a street on the road bent. So it's basically like a T street, super busy. My sign was right there. We had that conversation right at the very beginning that, you know, this is not going to work. And here's why it's not going to work. And he was like, I don't care if it doesn't sell. I'm going to rent it to my cousin. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to pick up every buyer there is. I'm not spending a dime on your listing. And we didn't. And it was, you know, we shook on that. But if I was going to take one today and there was no other way I could get them down, the only way I would take it is if it had a post-dated 3-week out or 2-week out price adjustment pre-signed. So fine, we will try it at your 250 and then we're going to come in at 2.25. And we're going to do it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever your area shows it should be coming down to. So that's handling it because I had the rule of 3, handling it up front. Another situation we had again, short sales. So the bank would do something really, really, really stupid. And then they would come to me and they would say, the bank did something stupid. And I got tired of banks just did a lot of stupid things. They really did. So I built a short sale 101 fact sheet with like the 10 things that are going to be happening or 15 or whatever it was with your short sale, very broad generalities, big, huge print. printed on light green paper, so it stood out in my listing packet of the stuff that I left with them. And the very first thing is, number one, banks are stupid. And if number two, if the bank says something, refer back to rule number one. And they'd laugh over it. But then when the bank did something, they'd be like, hey, Gina, the bank said blah, blah, blah. And I go, remember that? Banks are stupid. And they would laugh, and it took care of the objection. I didn't have to deal with it anymore. So find some way, when you have that rule of three, when something pops up 3 times, it's you, it's not them, it's you. So find a way to deal with it. So watch for the rule of 3, because it's going to happen not just in real estate, it happens in life also. Okay, so that's the 5th one. That's the rule of 3. Does that one make sense to everybody? Yes, awesome sauce. All right. Oh, I remember what it didn't say. Banks are stupid. I looked at my notes. It said banks are not logical. So then when they said, oh, you're right, banks are not logical, and they laugh over that. All right. Number 6, keep doing it. It is not going to work overnight. Michael, when you first started lead generating, how long did it take you before you got your first appointment? Do you remember?
By phone? By dialing the phone?
Yep, dial on the phone.
I don't know, probably, my first appointment was probably that week. The first listing took about 3 weeks.
Oh, man. All right. So Michael's a rock star.
No. I just found the right fool to say yes.
I love it. Okay, I'm a real slow learner. So when I started lead generating, it took me 4.5 months, 3 hours a day of lead gen, 20 phone calls, 100 dials, 20 conversations, an hour of follow-up, 4.5 months to get my first appointment. And I really thought that I was going to go crazy. I really did. And I would go to my team leader at the time and I would say, you know, is this thing going to work? Because I'm a brand new agent. She's like, tell me what you're doing. This is my phone call. So what I'm saying. And she'd go, I promise you it's going to work. And then I'd go home and I'd lead generate another 3 weeks. And I'd go back in again. Is this going to work? Tell me what you're doing. And I would tell her, she's like, promise you, put your head down. It's going to work. There's no way it can't work. And I know I'm a slow learner. What I learned was I didn't know how to handle objections. So I could ask for the appointment. And then when they said no with a reason, whatever they said, I was like, and I would let it go. And it took me a while to learn that. And eventually I put together what I call my script book. So here's my down and dirty, awesome secret that I did with scripts. I don't believe in memorizing anything unless I have to. So that's the first thing. And I learned pretty quickly that the ones that I had to memorize were the ones where I was in front of a person, because I couldn't grab, there's my script book. I could not grab my script book and go, wait, let me turn to that page so I can answer what it was that you said. So if it had to do with pricing objections or coming after my commission or anything that I had to deal with in person, those I memorized. And I memorized the concepts around them. And what it was that they were saying, and I learned the concepts, and that's really my step of what, or my process of how I learned those scripts. But if it was what I could say over the phone, then all I did was I had this book. This book is completely tabbed out. Oh, there you go. You guys can kind of see the tabs. It's huge. It's full of scripts. It's tabbed out. So I had a script. I did expired listings. So I would turn to my page that said expired listings. Let's go to that. I literally read my script off the page. Then if they said, we decided that we're going to stay with the same agent, I turned to my tab that says stay with the same agent. I read the script on the page. If they said we're going to, we decided to stay, we're not going to move, I turned the tab, let them talk, and read the script off the page. That is all I did. When I did that, I started listing 10 houses a month once I learned how to handle the objections. So the cool thing with this is, 1, it's really simple and easy. 2, I didn't have to memorize anything. 3, I have all my scripts memorized. I have every single one of those. I have the 5 reasons why they're going to say no. I have completely memorized. I have memorized. My husband has them memorized because his office was on the other side of the wall of my office. He knows every single script in real estate. He's never been in real estate his entire life. And none of them had to be memorized. So it was really, really, really simple. So if you don't have a script book, I highly recommend it. I also know a guy that put one of those trifold, his kids had science projects. So one of those trifold things that you get for your kids' science project. And he had all of the objections plus tie downs plus his opening script on that. And so he would literally, as soon as they would say whatever, he would just look at it and he'd let them finish talking and then he could read it right off the board. So if you're going to use phone calling, and that's the method that you're going to use, or something where you're not face to face, don't memorize them. Just get them in front of you so that you can reference them really quickly and pull them up and use them when you're ready. So keep on doing it. Learning something new is like being in the jungle. And I liken this to like exercise. So it's like being in a jungle, and when you haven't exercised in a long time and you're hacking through with a machete, and you're hacking through the jungle, and it's hard. It's like a lot of work, and it's sweaty and it's dirty and it's gross and it's hard. Once you're on a bad path, let's say of not exercising, and you got to get over here to the good path of exercising. So you got to hack through the jungle. Once you hack through it and you find the good path where you can like see the sky and see what direction you're going and all that, it's easy. It's really simple, but you got to hack through it. And if you don't hack through it and you stop, you'll be surrounded in jungle constantly. And the only way through it is through it. So keep on doing it. It won't work unless you work it. All right. So recapping. Number 1, starting with why. Number 2, be humble. Number 3, learn what to say and do it. Number 4, do the work. Don't wait, don't prepare, just do the work. Number 5 is the rule of 3. Something happens 3 times, it's you. So go back and rework whatever it is you're doing to be able to handle it in front. The next one, keep on doing it. Number 6 is keep on doing it. Okay. Number 7 in lead generation that nobody talks about. Name the fear. Once you hack through the jungle, you're going to get a really clear understanding of whatever it is that you fear because you're in the middle of it. Chances are that whatever it is that you fear, you're also resistant to. So you've got to be able to understand what it is and name it. Okay. So who here has any fear of lead generation, doesn't like it, has some stuff wrapped around it with how they think? And so Laura, is it, I mean, are you open to sharing it, kind of what it is and why? If you're open, you don't have to, but if you are, that help.
Yeah, I don't mind. I think for me, it's like, because I am a new agent, it's like, I'm afraid of like failing. And like you were saying about the whole, like when people object you, I just give up and I don't push and do a follow through. And Gary and I have talked about even like my sphere, reaching out to them, like doing more warm calling than cold calling. And even with that, I'm afraid of even like reaching out to people, like even like just starting. And I know that's like, oh, stupid, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it.
It's not stupid, it just is. Okay, so can we talk about the sphere one? Are you open to that?
Yeah, that's
awesome.
fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you, by the way. So tell me about your sphere. Tell me, you've got some fear around it. Tell me kind of specifically with your sphere, what you're worried about them doing on the other side.
I think because it's like, I'm from the Midwest, I'm from Chicago, doing real estate in Georgia. So a part of my mind is kind of like, how can my sphere help me if I'm in a whole other city? So it's like in my head, I'm just like, okay, what's the point of calling them? I would need to do cold calling here in Georgia to try to get me more started.
Okay.
That's my mindset on it. Even though I know that's like not a good way of thinking, because through your skill, like you could have referrals or they could know somebody in Georgia. So I haven't started.
Perfect. Okay. All right, let's deal with it. So your sphere up in Chicago that knows you and loves you, and you're worried about it because you're down here, and how can you really help them? Even though intellectually you kind of know that you really can help them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you do real estate in Chicago at all?
No.
Okay, and you're new in real estate, so you don't have a ton of experience with other agents other than like who's on our team, and I think you had a transaction, so that other person, et cetera, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so who here has been in real estate a long time and can talk about how, who here has been in real estate a long time, like 10 years or more? in one area?
Okay,
Tom,
Tom?
Michael. Okay, perfect. Can you guys help me out for a second? Awesome. Okay. Would you agree, Tom, you're in Virginia, Charlottesville. Michael, where are you located, out of curiosity?
Florida, Central Florida, Daytona Beach.
Oh, cool.
I work
Down
for-
to
I
my
work
neck
for
of the woods.
Tony.
Okay. So would you guys are in fairly good sized markets. You're not little teeny tiny areas. Would you guys agree that there is a percentage of agents in the top 5%, 10% that are snaky as heck?
You mean not honest?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe
They're
more
out
than
there,
that.
right? Say what?
Maybe more than that.
There's a huge percentage, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
The lie I like is I got a buyer.
exactly. Yep. So let me steal your listing from behind your sign because I'm bringing a buyer, right? So, yep, they're snaky as heck. All right. Would you guys all agree that if Mr. Snaky or Mrs. Snaky, let's be fair about this, Mr. or Mrs. Snaky, would you agree that they're doing some form of lead generation because clearly they're in the top 5%? So they're doing something, right?
Yes.
Okay. Does the public know that they're snaky?
No.
They have no idea.
Sometimes.
Wow, that's a really bad one. Because
Yeah.
usually the public has no clue. Now, if you're a general public, get out of the realtor shoes for a second, get in regular public shoes. If you're in the general public and you see either full color glossy stuff coming into your mailbox every week or billboards or somebody's name on every single bus bench thing or whatever it is that they're doing, if you see the same name, Mr. Hotshot Realtor everywhere, and you're general public, what do you think about Mr. Hotshot Realtor?
And he's the best.
He's what?
You think he's the best because I see his name all the time.
He's the
You tell me
best.
If you tell me this guy's green long enough, I'll believe it.
Exactly. He's got to be the best because it costs a ton of money to be on billboards and send out glossy flyers every single week, and be on every bus, blah, blah, whatever it is. So in public's mind, big equals successful. That's all they know. They have no idea that person's snaky. Now, back to you for a second, Laura. So now that we know that in the top 5%, there's a pile of snakes and they're out there lead generating. If they call your sister, cousin, brother, uncle, best friend in Chicago, is your sister, cousin, uncle, best friend going to know that they're dealing with a snake?
No.
Nope, they're not going to know. Okay. And they're going to go with them. And then you're going to get the phone calls on the other side because they had to deal with Mr. Snaky, and Mr. Snaky's awful. And Mr. Snaky doesn't care. Mrs. Snaky doesn't care if Mrs. Snaky hurts them 15 ways as long as Mrs. Snaky closes and gets a check at the end of it. Right?
Exactly. They just want the check.
They just want the check. And the longer you're in real estate, the more you'll learn this. There really are that's the bad news in real estate. Is I really thought it was a clean, better field of industry than the other fields that I was in. It's not. They just make more money. The good part of that is the bar that we have to go over to be a good agent isn't even low. It's in a ditch. It's literally in a ditch. You can glide across that bar and you're good. That's the good part, right? The bar's super low. But here's the thing. You have to get in front of your friends and family before Mrs. Snaky does. You have to. If you don't, you're hurting them. Does that make sense?
It does. No, that does make sense. And I mean, like, it goes back to, like you just said, the why.
So can you protect your friends and family and your cousins, uncles, best friends, brothers, whatever?
Yes.
Good. Okay, thank you. And also, Laura, thank you. And Tom and Michael, thank you for helping out with that. I super appreciate it. It's a brave, hard thing sometimes to stand up and go, I don't like this, and here's why I don't like it. So thank you.
No problem.
Awesome sauce. So I want you to know the fear of what it is. And the reason why I want you to know it is I want you to be able to name it. So once you can name what it is, then we've got some power over it. So you did that, Laura, you stood up and you said, hey, look, here's my fear and here's what the name of it is. Okay, and now we've got power over it. Now, here's what I want you to do. The next step, step 8. Now that you know what the fear is, I want you to reframe it, because you can completely reframe it. So, and what I mean by that is this. I'm going to use this example. When I'm on our bodies are physical. So, and our brains are, here we go. Our brains are mental. Our brains can, I know it's rocket science here, baby. Our brains can feel, for lack of a better term, a lot more than our bodies can, because our brains are infinite, but our bodies are just what our bodies are. So what I mean by that is this. When I ride on a roller coaster, my stomach does a flip. Okay. I mean, it just does this great. Now, I love roller coasters and they scare the hell out of me, but it does this great flip thing. When my husband and I ride a roller coaster together, my husband, when they take the picture on the roller coaster, my husband's like, and every picture I'm like, right. And I can't smile. I try so hard. My eyes are shut every time and I'm in like sheer dread, still love it. But my stomach does this weird flip. Maybe that happens to you guys. That's what happens to me. Then when I had my children and my kids were little and one of them would fall, my stomach would do the same flip, right? I mean, the exact same physical feeling. And then when the first time my husband kissed me, my stomach did the exact same feeling. So it's the same physical feeling, but one of them, the roller coaster, is like pure excitement, exhilaration. And my child falling is this god awful fear, dread thing, which you can't do as a mom because I don't want him crying. Fell, huh, dude? I mean, but but still inside I was like, and when my husband kissed me the first time, well, that's stars. And one is completely fabulous and one's exhilarating and one's awful, but it's the same physical feeling. Okay, so that and what I'm trying to get at, I used to do public speaking before I became a real estate agent, before 9/11, which took my business and my personal business that I was just launching and just drove it into the dirt. But I remember talking to a really big famous speaker and I was like, okay, dude, how do you get over the fear? And he goes, you don't want to. And I'm like, no, I do want to. Before I go on stage, I want to have to not run to the bathroom and I want to get over the fear. How do I get over the fear? And he goes, no, you don't want that to stop. Yes, I do. And he goes, no, you don't, because the day it stops and the day you lose that feeling is the day you suck at public speaking. I was like, oh man. He said, you need to reframe it. So the thing that you call fear, you need to call it excitement. You need to call it exhilaration. You need to call it energy. You need to call it anything else. Okay. So Laura, when you're feeling those feelings, I want you to reframe it into a different thing, something that rings really, really true for you. Does that make sense on reframing your fear and why and how and why you need to name it so that you can reframe it to this thing over here?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. Okay, so number 8, now that you name the fear, I want you to reframe it. Let me see. Number 9, it is not about you. Okay, so you're not, I don't look at what I do when I lead generate. I don't look at it as selling at all. I'm not selling. I'm not pushy. Other people would say I am, but I'm not pushy. Because the bottom line is, if you don't want to buy or sell or invest in real estate and you have no urge, that's fine. It's totally cool. I'm here for when you do want it. But when you do want it, I'm here for when you do want that. That's all it is. I just need to find, because I know that I need to keep you away from Mr. and Mrs. Snaky, I need to find who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And then I know that I will help you better than anybody else will, period. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer. If I don't have the information, I will go to this huge body of knowledge called the GIA team, and I will get the information for you. I have a really low bar to walk over, so I'm not so worried about that part. I just got to get in front of you. That's all I have to do. So it's not about you. So you can't call with the, well, for God's sakes, please, I need money. It can't be that. It literally has to be, who out there needs my help? You already have a house, you're not interested in buying one, you don't want to take advantage of the market when it takes, okay, cool. Do you know anybody else who wants to? Nope, awesome. If you think of anybody, I'm right here. Let me know. That's all it is. It's not about you. So you get out of your own shoes. Our job is to help and lift up our clients and teach them and work with them to get done what they want done. So that's number 9. It is not about you. Number 10 of the 10 rules of lead generation that people don't talk about. Get accountability and get a coach, and then trust them. If you don't have accountability and you don't have a coach, we tend to work at about 40% of our capacity. And by that, I mean, like when I'm working out, and I have a physical trainer now, I have 2 actually, because I have learned that the only way I'm going to work out is if I have a stupid appointment at 9 o'clock or 9:30 or 10 o'clock, depending on what day it is, that I have to go meet somebody, because otherwise I will not do it. I just won't. And I've also learned that when I have somebody that's pushing me, 1, I'm really, really competitive. So I'm going to push harder because I'm stupid competitive. But 2, they will push me with just one more, just one more, just one more, just one more. And they will continue to push me with just one more, just one more. And we will push past our 40%. When I found out that stat that we typically will, we think we're winded at 40%. Long distance runners, Liz, you probably know this, at 40%, you feel like you're done, you're not done. You know,
You're right.
Yeah, you're not done. There's more in you, lots more in you. So is Bree on tonight? Because I know Bree's one of my there's Bree. She's another one of my long distance runners. So you've got it in you. You really do. And a coach and accountability partner can push you up to that 100%. So for me, my limit without someone coaching me was 3 listings in my active listing inventory. Couldn't bust past it. And what I didn't realize is that the problem wasn't, well, okay, the problem was me, but the problem was here. And the problem here that I didn't even realize I was self-thwarting until I had a different coach who was like, oh no, you can go past that. When I really examined it, what had happened was my first broker said, you can't service more than 3 active listings at any given time because you don't have the bandwidth to service them. That's frankly crap. What I realized I had done, because I had bought so much into that lie, I had 3 signs, I had 3 flyer things for inside the house, I had 3 key boxes, I had 3 of everything. I literally, when I was buying stuff, I was like, no, I'll take 3. And I was like, no, you don't list 4, you only have 3 key boxes. And when I had a coach push me, I had a coach say, pick, how many, for me, my number that I always counted was active listings in my listing inventory, because I know that if I price it right, and I stay on top of that price and make sure I'm priced right, they will sell. It will. One house won't out of 8 million, but all the rest of them will sell. So that's the number that I tracked. So it was one simple number for me. And when I had a coach push me and say, pick a number of how many listings you want in your active listing inventory. And I said, oh, big stretch, 10. I'm going to go get 10. And, and then as we were going through it, and then he turned around and said, great, now double it. And that feeling of my stomach, like on the roller coaster, the kid fall, it's a sound, I was like, like it can't be done. And 2 months later, I had it because someone pushed me and got this to open up to make me realize it can be done. So get a coach and get an accountability partner. I had a car wreck a while ago. I had a real rough time walking without pain. I had to go through physical therapy for a long time to learn how to walk without pain again. And what I realized that person, they were pushing my body and I didn't realize what I was doing. And I still do this. I still, with my physical trainers, every once in a while, they'll have me do a stretch or a push or something. And I just tighten up like crazy against them because I'm afraid of the pain. And I have to go, wait, don't push, hang on. And I have to learn to relax into it so that person can push me past my 40%. So get a coach, get an accountability partner, and then trust them and allow them to push you past your 40%. So the 10 rules of lead generation no one talks about. Start with why. Be humble. Learn what to say and how to say it. Have a cute kid in the background. Number 4, do the work. Don't wait, don't prepare to prepare, just do the work. Number 5, the rule of 3. It's 3 times, it's you, it's not them. Number 6, keep doing it. It's not going to work overnight unless you're Michael Usuri, and that will work overnight. For me, it's not going to work overnight. It's going to take you a while. Number 7, name the fear. So like Laura did, hit it straight on, get your head in there and name it. Number 8, reframe that fear. So name it, and then number 8, reframe it. Number 9, it is not about you. It's about them. Number 10, get accountability and a coach. Learn to trust them and relax into it. And then my freebie, number 11, teach other people how to do it. So that's the last final one. When I was fairly new in real estate, I put together a class. We did not have our manager, team leader actually left, was gone for about 9 months. And so we kind of ran the office without that person. So I put together a class on lead generation. I said I would take cold calling, which would be the second class. Michelle, my dear friend, would take the first class, which was all on calling your sphere, which by the way, I did not do because I had the same exact fear as Laura. I was not going to ever call my sphere. Plus I don't like them as much, but wait, that's my family. Anyway, so the night before the class, Sunday night, I got a phone call from the broker going, Gina, you know how class is Monday morning, 9 o'clock, and Michelle's teaching it? Yep, it's all on calling your sphere. And she goes, yeah, Michelle has the flu. Can you teach class? I'm like, sure thing. Maybe I started at 10. I think I started at 10. I was like, sure thing. I can teach a class on calling your sphere to 150 agents when I don't call my sphere. I can do that. And I was like, oh my God, I have no integrity. So that morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, I got on the phone and I called my sphere. And because I made myself do it so I could have integrity around it, and I had to face the fear and walk through it, I had to do that in order for me to be able to teach. And teaching taught me way more because what I had to do that night is sit down and grab scripts and some sort of a system and put it into some sort of coherent, like logical sense to teach a stupid 90-minute class on something I didn't know. And then the next morning, in order to have integrity, actually had to do it. So if you don't know how to do something, or something concerns or freaks you out, or you want to really deep dive into something, teach it, because nothing will make you deep dive more than having to teach something. So, all right, lead generation. It's awful. There's no way around it. It gets better. And as a matter of fact, it gets to the point where if you keep on working through it, I don't know about you, is there anybody here that actually enjoys it? Because I do.
I do.
I like it. Go
Get
ahead,
over
Mike.
the fear. You get over the fear. The rest of it. I quit doing everything else. You talk about success. No, it wasn't. I tried door knocking. I tried open houses. I did everything you could think of and didn't like any of it until a guy, an agent in Keller Williams was back there in Orlando, introduced me to cold calling. Took me about 6-7 months to get over my fear of cold calling. And when I went to him and said, I just can't do this, he told me to go to my house, the office that I had at home, close the door, turn everything off, give me a list from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, take my food and drinks in there with me, don't walk out of that room, and call everyone on that list until it got to 9 o'clock. He said, by the end of that day, you'll hear every objection, you'll be cussed out, you'll be hung up on, you'll hear everything you're going to hear in an 8-hour day, and you'll never be scared, afraid, or anything else. He said, but the only thing you got to remember, when you meet him at Home Depot, they don't know who the hell you are.
Amen.
And once I did that, I figured out that I like doing it because I don't have to get dressed, get up, go anywhere, do anything. I just walk in my spare room, turn on my computers, and just start. In fact, I use Mojo. I just hit Mojo and I sit here. It does all the work for me until someone answers and I say hello and we talk.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I had fear like crazy. I used to dread every single first phone call. It took me, oh my gosh, it took me so long. And for me personally, my first phone call of the day always sucked. And so I used to teach people, I'm like, it's never not gonna suck. Like, it's just never. Kathy asked me if I go over the list of 10 one last time, and I will, Kathy, I'll circle back around again. I used to tell people, look, the first phone call is going to suck. It's going to suck every day. It never stops, but it doesn't matter because the second phone call is fine. And by the third, it's great. And you'll get one really good one, hopefully, out of there, maybe a few more. But one day I remember hanging up the phone and I had on my board in front of me, we were going to go to Europe that year and we wanted to spend a few weeks in Europe. And I realized that I was going to get like 3 transactions or something off this one phone call, or 4, whatever it was. It was a stupid amount of transactions I was going to get off of it. And I remember looking at my board in front of me that said Europe. And all of a sudden it clicked of, holy moly, like that phone call is going to pay for all of Europe. And some magic switch flipped inside my brain. And from that point forward, I was like, yes. So that was my first key to get to the point where I did not dread the first phone call every day. My second one was I made myself take Sundays off. And for me, that was a hard thing because I like to work, I really do. I'm one of those sick puppies that likes working. And I made myself walk completely away from everything in real estate on Sunday, and then eventually on Saturday and Sunday both. No phone. Sometimes I would just leave my phone in the glove box of the car and I would just go do whatever. And what happened was, because I like working so much, by the time Monday morning came around, by Sunday night, instead of dreading Monday, which is what I did when I had a job, I dreaded my Monday, which is a sucky way to spend Sunday, man. Instead of that, I actually had this, yeah, tomorrow I get to work. And I still have that to this day of tomorrow I get to work, which I know is messed up, and I don't care. It works for me. As long as I walk away from this, then I always have that. So it took me longer because Michael is much more of a rock star than me. So I'm a slow learner. So, all right. I'm going to go ahead.
I'm just stubborn, that's all.
Pardon me?
I'm just stubborn, that's all.
You and me both. And I'm sorry, Mike got a new computer and apparently it is quiet because you seem to be talking plenty loud. It's just me.
Well,
Okay.
it's probably me because I'm leaning back in the chair.
Well, there you go. Nice to have you come forward, Michael. Yep. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go through the 10 steps really quickly. And then let's answer any questions that you guys have. And then I'm going to turn the meeting over to Michelle real quickly. And then I'm going to circle around with some news of some stuff that's going on. So 10 steps to lead generation nobody talks about. Number 1, start with why. Number 2, be humble. Number 3, learn what to say and how to say it. Number 4, do the work. Don't prepare to prepare. Number 5, hang on, I can't count with my fingers, y'all. Number 5 is the rule of 3. Yes, exactly. Number 6, oh, Tom, I love you, is keep doing it. It's not going to work overnight. Number 7, name the fear. Number 8, reframe that fear. Number 9, it is not about you. Number 10, get accountability and a coach. Number 11, teach others. So those are the 10 things about lead generation that nobody talks about. Let's check chat box really quickly. Okay, good. I'm caught up on chat box. We love that. And yes, I can send it out for whoever just said that. I just saw that flash in front of my eyes. I'll send you my lead generation 10 things. Okay, any comments, questions, whatevers on all that? You're welcome, Bonetta. Anything else before I turn over to Michelle?
One thing that I always do when I'm making calls is I will mix in, and I'll have friends who know what I'm doing. And so I'll make a call to one who I know is going to encourage me. And I also have one who's going to beat me up purposefully. And they know what they're doing because that helps me. So that's what works for me.
I love that.
I don't have that many friends, so I just call people I don't know.
I liked calling people I don't, mostly because my family really is a pain in the butt. My family would come to me and they're like, well, you're going to give me a deal. And I'm like, no, I'm charging you more. You're a pain in my rear. And every time they have been a pain. The only one that wasn't was my mother-in-law, because she's the most wonderful person on planet Earth and she's back there. She can hear me. Everybody else has been a pain in my rear. So I preferred it when they didn't know me, I don't know, it's just how I'm wired. So, all right, what do we got? Yes, I'll send out the list. Okay, Michelle, I promoted you also. So I'll do a quick little intro with Michelle. So I met Michelle through Bree, and she is TCing for a few people on our team and we we kind of came together with an idea of it would be really cool to be able to have a TC that the whole entire team had access to for all 50 states. And the feedback I got on both sides of, well, actually all three sides of Michelle's deal, from her, from the agent, and then from the agents on the other side, is just how amazing she is and how good she is at setting up the systems. So to that end, I want to bring on Michelle so Michelle can talk to you about what she's doing. So Michelle, you're on.
Thank you, Gina.
You're welcome.
Wasn't quite, see, this part of the fear, talking in front of people, wasn't quite prepared to talk today. But I know Gina had brought it up to me, and I talked with Gary about doing TC for the team. So Brianna has been my guinea pig throughout this so far. So thank you, Bree, for putting up with me for the last 2 months with your transactions. But yeah, if there is anyone that is in need of a TC for any of your transactions, I am available. I'll put my email address in the chat, and I'll send you a link to a form to fill out if you have any transactions that you need assistance with. But
Do we see your face?
Sure, hang on a second.
Thank you. Team, I have to call you all out. I've been with you guys since the beginning of the year, and all on Zoom. And Gary's very nice, and so is Gina. They never tell you to turn your camera on, but it is hard to build trust with people you don't see their faces, right? Which is why we put on the camera.
True.
Which is why, Michelle, I asked you if you could turn on your camera so that you can say, oh, that's Michelle. I want you to be my transaction coordinator.
Okay, thank you.
So team, is even if you put it on for 5 minutes, it doesn't matter if you're wearing your pajamas, which I am. So, come on. That's all I have to say.
I love it, Pete. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you.
P.S. P.S.
Annette,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
So that was in the NA, that was in one of the videos. The NAEA. Yeah, it was in one of the videos that when you have a meeting, you're supposed to have your face on. It's unprofessional not to have it on. And he's exactly right. That was the quote. You can't build trust. And so in the meeting, so I'm gonna turn mine on too.
Woohoo! PF, you are allowed to, matter of fact, I just made you in charge for all the meetings. Okay.
Call everybody out for not having your cameras
You
on.
are, you're in charge right at the very beginning. I want to hear it.
Sergeant at Arms.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
I hate taking selfies. I don't find myself attractive, to be quite frank. And I don't like seeing myself on video, but I know the importance of establishing a communication channel with someone across the world and build some trust in a relationship. And part of that, I've heard it in many seminars. That's the way you look. That's the way, he's not gonna So I have to, even if I don't like seeing myself, hopefully you don't mind seeing me, but it's better to see each other's faces. I mean, in some cases I can see pictures, but a video is good.
I love seeing faces because it's real. I didn't know the trust thing, so that's really interesting. I also like interaction. I like it when people interrupt me, I come from a family of women, it's fine. It's a form of love. But the trust thing was really interesting. I did not know that. So for instance, do you all trust me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I trust Gina, Netta, Tom, and Michelle.
Only time will tell.
Sam, you have a little one growing out the back of your head. All right. I'm going to take a second here and I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to kind of talk to you about really briefly about something that's going on with the team that I want you to know. So here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
So that's
Yep.
Gary and his darling
Yes.
daughter Annie.
Well, hey Gina, before you move on, how much
Yeah.
is the transaction coordinating service? Is that included in the team, or what's the fee for transaction coordinating?
So my fee will be is $350 per transaction.
That's
And that's for
awesome.
seller, that's selling and
A seller or a listing
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
or
Thank you.
buyer.
You can
Buyer.
charge, you can pass that fee on to your client
Oh,
as
I
long as you
already
let
started
them,
the process.
as long as you let them know ahead of time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I put it on all my buyer's agreements and my listing agreements. Yep.
Awesome sauce. I don't know about you all. If you're a brand new agent, my advice is do one, just so you know the process, and then never do another one again. Like ever. Learn the process and then never do another one again. Because why? I did new construction, and when I did new construction, I got in the middle of a few deals and I couldn't keep up with it, mostly because the builder was crazy. But aside from the builder being crazy, I went and got a TC, and the other side, this is only my second year in real estate, and the other side agents made fun of me and said, you know, what's wrong with you? Why can't you handle, 15 open files? I can't. I don't have the bandwidth. I just flat out don't have it. I got a TC. They all mocked me. Why would you give away $400 a year money that you own, or whatever the 300, whatever the price happened to be that she was. And I outsold that year, only my second year in real estate, I outsold their top sales agent 2-1. So I was like, I'll pay a TC all day long, because I will outsell everybody else with that puppy, and I don't care. So they, as far as I'm concerned, good TC and good admin are worth their weight in gold. They should never lose a pound, because they are worth it. So, all right, flipping over to this picture. This is Gary last Christmas with his darling daughter, Annie. And this is some really, really sad news, but I wanted you guys to know, and I wanted you guys to hear it personally. Gary is taking this week off. Annie has been battling a brain tumor. It's a very cancerous brain tumor. It's large. It is inoperable. It is connected. It is somewhere in the part of her brain that is connecting the two hemispheres together. So they can't remove it, because if they do, the two parts of her brain won't talk anymore. So it's inoperable. She's been, for 5 years, she's been battling this. She's been going to treatments all over. She just got back from Europe, from some treatment over in Europe, and it was not effective. And something has happened much worse now, and she's in really, really bad shape. So I got a phone call from Gary this morning to please take over everything. Beverly's taking it over on the back end of the office side, asked me to take over everything on this side. He is flying to get to his daughter. They've spent all their money there, and it's not good. It's really not good. So what we're going to do is we're going to put together a GoFundMe. I think Gary and Bev, or Gary's going to give us a little write-up kind of a thing, and then we're going to be putting together a GoFundMe and getting that out there to everybody. When we have that information, we'll put it out there for everybody also. We wanted it on Workplace, but we know that not very many people are going to go to Workplace and see it. And then we wanted to be able to tell you guys, the team, directly. And then we want to kind of spread the word out. If you need anything, we're asking that you just hold off on emailing Gary, just set it aside and wait, give him a week of breathing room so that he can kind of deal with his family and deal with everything that's going on there. Just give him a week of breathing room. On the executive side, we're going to handle everything we can. We're going to make the best executive decisions that we can. And then we're just going to keep a list. So we're not even bothering him with that. We just want him to walk away for a week. If you need any help with anything, please feel free to reach out to me. There's a lot of things I'm not going to be able to coach you on, because I just don't have the vast body of knowledge that that man has. I just flat out, I just don't have it. But as a team, we know a lot, and we'll pull together, and the admin will help you on their side also, Bev, Jody, Judy, etc. So that's where we are on that. Rob, you've put together a GoFundMe link. I'm seeing, what am I seeing here? What have you got up there with the medical cost? Is that Gary's actual link? Rob, you're on mute. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm not really sure if that's the actual link or not, and if he's gotten it up or not.
Yeah, it says Gary Wilson is organizing.
Sorry, yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. What you got
For
there,
some
Rob?
reason, my mute button wasn't engaging. Yeah, I had actually, I was on here a few minutes before 7 o'clock started, and I was just kind of scrolling through Facebook. That came up in my my news feed. So as soon as you mentioned it, I didn't know if we're going to talk about it, but since he had it up there, I figured it wasn't, under wraps. But yeah, that's he put it together. It's there.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much for that. We'll get that out to everybody. For those of you that aren't praying types, if you could please send your thoughts up. For those of you that are, we could really use your prayers around this. So prayer warriors come up, and we believe in prayer. And I know Gary's asking for it also. He's asking for all thoughts and prayers that you can send his direction and his daughter Annie's direction. So I'm sorry to have to deliver that, but we really, really wanted you guys to hear it. And then we're just, as a team, we're just going to pull together, and we're going to pull through it for this week and give him the breathing space that he needs. So any questions around any of that?
Yeah, Gina, just, for anybody who runs in, has a question or an issue with the transaction or something like that, you can send it to Gina, and Gina can, broadcast it out. But within the team, we can come up with an answer and guidance for anything that anybody's facing this week.
Yep. Thank you so much, Tom. So any other questions or anything? Nothing. All right. I know that's a sad note. Did I hear something?
Yeah, I didn't want to change the subject, but
Change
going
away,
back-
but no good segue, so might as well go for it.
okay, thank you. Michelle, so are you familiar with all the states, or do you focus on this particular? I'm in Massachusetts.
I am not familiar with all the states yet, so I would need to discuss with you any state-specific forms that you do have, and then I can go to the broker on GXP World and ask any questions I need to there. So,
What states are you familiar with?
I'm in Tennessee.
Okay.
I will say that what I do love about because I'm bringing people in. So I just brought a person in all the states. So I just brought a person in North Carolina and just had to learn of mucking through North Carolina, which does things really different. And she literally said, do you have any other agents here in North Carolina? And I looked on the roster and I'm like, nope, you are in North Carolina too? Oh, that's right. You're dual licensed, aren't you? North Carolina's crazy. So, but I will say this, I could jump in, talk directly to the broker who just outlined the entire thing. Well, one of the 27 brokers, because that's the way they do it in North Carolina. But I could just talk directly with the broker and go, well, wait, how does it work here? And then get all my answers and go back to the person and go, okay, so here's what you get to do that's all extra special. So, all right, cool. Michelle, I'm really, really, really thankful that you're doing this for the team. I think this is a very cool service. I really do. You're on mute.
Thank you for pushing me for it. So, I've been an admin for nearly 30 years in retail prior to getting my license. So it's kind of in line with what I did before, doing paperwork. So I like doing paperwork.
And
I think I like doing that more than talking to people.
And that's a perfect TC. When I first met my
Gina, can I mention, this is Brianna.
Please.
Yeah, Michelle so what Gina was saying about doing at least one transaction yourself to really struggle through it and then you really appreciate what a TC brings to you. But I have been with 2 other brokerages before and had TCs with each of them, but always did at least one transaction within their system. So even if you're a seasoned agent and if you've not done one with EXP, their systems are a little bit different. Michelle's very quick learner, very well-versed, very thorough at communication and follow up and things outside the box when you need her to. So highly recommend her.
Love that. And Michelle, you don't know what you just said, but you just said exactly what my first TC said.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here's what she said. She used to be a real estate agent and she's like, now I'm a TC. And I was like, why? Because I couldn't fathom it. She goes, I really hate dealing with people, but I love the paperwork. I was like, oh my God, you're hired. And I was like, because I hate paperwork and I love dealing with the people. So I think it's a beautiful relationship when you've got that, man. Awesome sauce. All right. Anybody have anything else that they want to share? Now's your chance.
Got a question for you.
What you got?
In the thing we talked about, your first campaign booklet #1, what booklet? And now we've told me, but I'm blonde and I'm old. What's the booklet?
Tom, do you know what the book #1 is? Is that?
It's the booklet campaign.
Hang on, let me share screen. Let me find it. Let's
Yeah,
go here.
it's going to be the first one in the GIA resources.
Yep. So hang on. I need to share my screen anyway, and I need to show you guys something else because you reminded me of that. So Michael, your question's double good. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's close. Let's go here. Okay, so
Yes.
GIA resources. Wow, we were not expecting that. What the heck was that?
No.
No, let's get out of here. I've never seen that before. Okay, GIA resources. Hang on. There's 2 things I want to show. So when I'm finding that one, let's do this one first. So let's go to scripts first. They just uploaded all of my scripts onto the website. They are not pretty yet. Bev contacted me, Gary and Bev actually, and they said, hey, look, we're looking for scripts. And I'm like, I'll give you all my scripts. I have like tons of them. So I sent them all over to them. And then they were like, okay, can we get these right away? And I was like, no, it's a lot of scripts. Give me a second so I can kind of put them like in order. And I sent them all to him because Bev's like, all right, I'm going to get them uploaded. They're going to look gorgeous on the site because we're going to do boom, 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 boom. And then she called me up. She goes, Gina, you sent me 87 pages. I said, you asked for all my scripts. So they're all in here. They're all divided up this way. And then when you click on each one, come on, there we go. No, we don't want to see this. Could take a few minutes. They're all divided out. And there's that one happens to be a short one, but most of them have tons and tons of scripts for each section. So let's get out of there. Let's go back into, let's go back here.
Member resources.
Member resources, not GIA, but members. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a double click?
I don't know.
Wow. Why does this seem weird today? Hang on. This is why. Marketing.
Right there.
Right.
First one, the booklet campaign.
Okay. There we go.
I was looking over ebook.
Nope. So this is it. It walks you through. There's a video to watch first, and then download this and it walks you all through it. This is what is being uploaded or might already be finished. Tom, do you know if it's already finished for KV Core? And so it will do it all automatically for you.
I don't know. They were playing with my KV Core account. I haven't gotten an update yet.
Gina, I think in the booklet, there's some sections that you have to tailor to your market.
Correct.
Perfect.
So it's like, it's the whole book and the wording, and then he gives examples of some properties, and then you tailor it to your market.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For each one of these, Dennis.
And you can put like your picture and your name and everything in it.
So each one of these templates, like one says Dennis, one says engineer, are they different?
Yes, they have verbiage patterns for an engineer that an engineer would use, like Gary used the example for a dentist. If you want to get away from behind the chair, because that's a saying that dentists use. They don't want to always be behind the chair. So engineer will have those language patterns that an engineer will use, etc. The concept's the same. It just has some different language patterns in there for that specific industry.
So is there like a generic?
Yes, but specific to those industries dealing with that. But other than that, I believe it's fairly interchangeable.
And editable.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
Yep.
So I can alter out things if I was sending it to a contractor or to a doctor. I can edit it, change it myself.
Yes.
Absolutely, all day long. Yep. And matter of fact, if you don't have the properties to grab for the particular type of booklets that might have like before and after pictures for that type of booklet or something like that, go online, pull everything that's sold in the past year, run it by address. You can see where 2 houses have sold in the past year. It's probably a flip in a scenario like that. Use those pictures. So there's things like that. If you don't have it, to where how to go grab it so that you've got it for your book. Does that make sense?
All right. So what he's saying, do booklet 1. Is there any particular one we're supposed to do?
I don't have an answer. I think it's just to get the booklet campaign up and running. And then, Tom, can you answer that one? I don't have an answer for that.
No, there's no. You just start with the one and you modify it the way you want to be consistent with it. And something's since COVID hit, Gary's been suggesting that you can do it as a Google Doc and send it and text it. And then also you can do a video version of it as well if you wanted to and send that link. So, people who like the video, they could click on that and actually see you walking through it. It could be, you could do it as a PowerPoint as well. So you can be flexible with it rather than the old printed copy.
So these are just basically comparing properties.
Yes, with what's going on the market. And so you keep it updated. And then you become the source on a bi-weekly or monthly basis. And your clientele, your contacts expect to get the updated monthly report or bi-weekly report.
That means I got to work more.
Well,
Maybe.
No comment. It took you too long to say anything. Where's that accountability, lady?
There's a little work involved. Once you've got it set up, it's just running updated report and plugging it in.
All right, I'll have to play with it. My OCD is going to take me forever.
Besides, Michael, you said you like to work.
No, I like to gossip. If you ain't figured it out, I like to talk. That's my work.
Well, then you've got to do the video version.
Yeah, now I got to come up with a script, put it on the teleprompt.
It's in there. It should be plug and play for the most part, but you're right. You do have to do something.
I'm OCD.
If you want to do it.
Nothing is plug and play with me.
No, it's not. And my husband's OCD, but really he's CDO because that's alphabetical order.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
He just says I'm mental. That's all I know.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah, I got a spectrum, wide spectrum.
All right, y'all, does anyone else have anything else that they need help with or want to mention or anything like that? All right, PF, you remember your job now. All right.
Sergeant at Arms.
I'll put a shirt on and put my cigar down next time, PF, and we'll turn it off. I wouldn't want all that gray hair to offend me.
Oh, there's the color for a reason. So,
yeah.
All right, you guys, have a really, really good week. Please keep Gary and Annie in your thoughts and prayers. We'll get that GoFundMe out to everybody. And just thank you for all of your help and everything and pulling together and dealing with my last minute class. And I really appreciate you guys. I really, really do. So thank you.
Thank you, Gina.
Y'all are welcome. All right.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Wait. Are we going to do the bus tour yet?
The bus tour? Are you picking me up?
No, we're supposed to do the bus tour campaign. When are we going to do that?
Well, I thought you said you were in charge of that one. Weren't you going to get a bus?
Oh, I lied to you. That's a whole other story.
Because I'll sit in the back. That's where I was growing up. That's where
I just saw literally on the marketing, there's a bus tour campaign. It's like, okay.
Yep, that's the next one. Awesome. Y'all are welcome. Have great days. Bye-bye.